Don't do this in England. Hi, my name is Claire and I am from England. I grew up in London, but now I live in southwest England. I've also had family living in the Midlands and I've got friends living in the north of England. So when it comes to English etiquette, I'd say I know what I'm talking about. I was watching a few other videos on YouTube about things you shouldn't do in England. And honestly, I don't agree with all of them. So I thought I'd put together my own list created by a born and bred English woman about all the things that you should never do if you're visiting England. The first thing that you should never do in England is call Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland England. They are different countries in that sense. They are all part of the United Kingdom, but Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland have a very distinctive identity and they're also governed slightly different as well. So it is very important to not refer to them as England. You could go a little bit further and even add Cornwall into that. Cornwall is technically a part of England, but it has a very unique Celtic heritage. I live in Devon, which is right next door to Cornwall, and my family are actually Cornish, so this is something that I'm very interested in, but I won't go too much into it in detail now, although you can check out my what not to do in Cornwall video if you'd like to hear a little bit more about that. Next up on the list is don't just visit London. Please, please, please don't just visit London and then think that you've seen England. I mean, if you've only got time to visit London on your trip, then that's fine. But just don't think that that is England, because it's very different to the rest of the country. There are so many amazing places that you can visit outside of London. Just to name a few, there's Devon where I live, there's Cornwall which has beautiful beaches, there's the Dorset coastline as well, which is the Jurassic Coast, which is England's only natural UNESCO World Heritage Site. There is the beautiful city of Bath, there's the Cotswolds, the Lake District, the Peak District, there's other cities like Manchester, Liverpool, Bristol, Leeds. There's so much to do. London's a great city, but there is just a lot more in England as well. The next thing to not do in England, and you should definitely never do this, is to drive on the right. In England we drive on the left, like Australia, India, New Zealand, Japan, I think, Malta. So there's not many countries that drive on the left, but there are a few. And yeah, basically just make sure you don't drive on the right in England. It's fairly obvious which side of the road you should drive on, but you do always hear of some tourists who rent a car and drive on the wrong side of the road. So just make sure you remember that one. It's probably the most important. Another thing to never do in England is please don't presume that we all drink 15 cups of tea a day. Like, we really don't. I've got friends who never drink tea. I personally have 1 cup every morning. And then sometimes in the winter I'll have another cup a bit later on in the day. But I drink more coffee than tea, and with my generation you will find more people drinking coffee, at least in my circles. I watched another YouTube video about things not to do in England, and it said never turn down a cup of tea. We're not going to be offended if you turn down a cup of tea. And you know, there is a stereotype that we drink tons of tea every single day, but we really don't drink that much. Some people do, but it's not like, you're not going to be deported if you don't drink a cup of tea, so don't worry if you don't like it. Money, money, money. The next one is to not ask someone how much they earn. This is also kind of a British stereotype, and this one is kind of true. We don't like to talk about money, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it is considered a bit of a social faux pas to ask someone how much they earn. There are very few people in my life who I know exactly how much they earn. It's, yeah, maybe not a good thing because it's a bit of gatekeeping, and really we should probably be more transparent about this kind of stuff, but yeah, I would recommend not asking anyone how much they earn when you're in the UK. The next one is don't forget a rain jacket. So this is another British stereotype actually, is that it rains all the time. It doesn't rain all the time, but we do have quite unpredictable weather throughout the whole year, and there's usually at least a few rainy days in a month. Some months seem like mainly rainy days, but But I'm recording this now and it is gloriously sunny outside, so we definitely have our fair share of sunshine. But because of the changeable weather, I would recommend to not forget a rain jacket. Okay, this is the thing that you never should do in England. Never jump queues. We love a queue, and this is a stereotype that is true. We are very good at queuing. We queue orderly, we don't jump, we wait our turn. That is what the British do. I think I can talk for the whole of Britain when I say that. So yeah, while you're here, don't jump queues, don't push in. That's just not how we do it. We stand in line and wait our turn. In a similar vein, don't ever stand on the left on an escalator. So this is a very like London Underground thing. It's to stand on the right. If you want to stand on the escalator, you stand on the right, and then everyone walks up next to you. If like everyone who wants to walk up the escalator walks up next to you, and you stand on the right. And if you want to walk up the escalator, obviously you can walk up on the left, but don't stand on the left, because then that blocks people's way who want to walk up. This is a very done thing in London and in other big cities in England, and if you do stand on the left, you'll probably be tapped on the shoulder and someone will be like, excuse me. The next thing that you should not do in England is to underestimate driving times. I know we're a small country, and I mean that's true. You could get from Land's End, which is the bottom of Cornwall, to John O'Groats, which is the top of Scotland, probably in 10 hours if there's no traffic. But there is always traffic. So this is as someone who spent a year driving around Australia. The driving in England can be so stressful, and like traffic is very common. We're a very small island and we have a population of what, 66 million? Or is it more? It may well be more. I think I looked that up a few years ago. Just don't underestimate like what the driving will be like, because even if it looks, you know, even if you're used to driving long distances and you look at the map and it's like, oh, it's only 4 hours, that's fine, it probably will be more. And yeah, it can be very stressful being stuck in these traffic jams. The next thing to not do in England is to be confused if someone says, all right. So we say this all the time, and it literally just means hello. Like, you'll see a mate and you'll just say, oh, all right. It doesn't mean, are you all right? It literally just means hello. It's just a greeting. I don't really know where it came from. So if someone says all right to you, you can just say, oh, hey. And that would be very appropriate. The next thing to not do in England is don't worry too much if you don't understand our accent. I used to have a really strong like Cockney accent when I lived in London. It still is a little bit, but since I've lived in the southwest for quite a while now, it has diluted. But we have very strong regional accents, and I mean, when I went to university, my accent was so strong that the people at university couldn't understand me, and they were from like a 2-hour drive away from where I grew up. So sometimes we can't even understand each other. So don't worry too much if you can't understand all the accents. Most people will be happy to talk again, talk slower, or try and neutralise their accent a little bit. The last thing to not do in England is please don't presume we're all unfriendly. This is another stereotype which I really dislike. To be honest, it is more of a London stereotype, but London's just typical of any big city. Like, it's the same in Paris, in New York, in most capitals all over the world. People are just a bit busier there, but come to Devon, which is where I live, and people are so friendly. People stop to have a chat. You know, people will go out of their way to ask how you're doing and everything. If you ask people for help, they're really helpful. And it's the same like out of any big city really. People are a bit more laid back in the country, which is the same in loads of places, but we aren't all unfriendly, so yeah, please don't think that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video about all of the things to not do when you're visiting England. If there's any more that come to mind while you're watching it, please drop a comment below and let me know what you think. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it, that really helps. And if you'd like to see more videos about travel and exploring the UK, then please subscribe for more. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.